Jim's not here.
Okay. Ready? We're opening the Oldham County Code Enforcement Board meeting for October the 5th. At this time, we will do the swearing.
Do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give this board is true and accurate to the best of your belief and knowledge?
Do.
We will start with the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the minutes?
I move the minutes be approved as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Okay.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Hey, on the follow-up information, the property located at 4501 Highway 393 in LaGrange. As you recall, it's a property that I'm monitoring to make sure they stay in compliance. You can see by the photo there, he remains in compliance. You don't have the photo? We may have some interruptions because of glitches with the GIVS system. They've got a guy supposed to be coming tomorrow, but we've been having trouble with the projector and some other stuff. But there's the other photo that I put up. Any questions on that? If not, we're ready to move. I do have one other little follow-up that wasn't on there, just FYI for y'all's information. The property at 7910 Floydsburg Road, the old daycare center, it did sell on the courthouse steps, and the fellow that bought it's the guy that lives next to it, and he's already cleaned that place. I mean, it looks 110% better. So if
Nursery
you've
there,
been,
the Beechwood Garden Nursery, is that what it?
well, I don't know what the nursery is that he does own a nursery right there at the corner.
Yeah, it's right next to it,
I
yeah.
don't know what the name of it is, but yeah, he's really done a lot to that in a short amount of time, so just a little success story that it has been cleaned up, so moving right along. The first case on the docket is citation number 470. The property is 516 Jericho Road, if you recall. There went our,
Overhead.
if you
I've
recall,
got it on my screen, but
okay.
Yeah.
If you've got it on your screens and you can see it, that's great. But if you'll recall, this is a property that we continued the case on back, I think it was 2 months ago. We continued this case to give them time to finish up what they were doing. She has finished that property, and if you've got it on your screen, I'll show you some finished product. And I'm recommending that the case be dismissed as she's now in compliance. But if you can see those photos right there, that house has been demoed and the debris cleaned out of the lot. It looks pretty good now, so.
We have a recommendation that
The recommendation is to dismiss the case without
Is this
prejudice.
the case? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we dismiss the case, citation number 470.
All right, do I have a second?
second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you.
Next case is citation number 476. The address is 4901 Meadow Lane Court. The date is October 5th, 2016. The case number is 16-0111, citation 476. Again, the property address is 4901 Meadowland Court, Crestwood, Kentucky 40014. Property owner is Joel and Mary Sherwood. Their address is 1823 Deerwood Avenue, Louisville, Kentucky 40205. A hearing was requested, however, he didn't show up. I talked to him myself Monday, and he said he was gonna be here, but as you can see, he's not here. The charges of the violations are nuisance ordinance KLC 89-800-846, sections 1 and 3, and zoning ordinance 280-100, off-street parking. On July 25th, 2016, code enforcement received a complaint regarding listed property storing multiple vehicles, motorcycles, trucks, so on and so forth. Give it just a minute, we might be able to get the projector back on. As you can see in this slide, if y'all do have the slide on your screens. As you can see on the slide, there's multiple motorcycles in the back of that truck. That white truck, the tag is expired on it, and it's inoperable. The other white truck appears inoperable, but he did start that and show me that it runs, even though it has not moved since day one that I've been there. And there's a piece of wood on top. He said that was his hillbilly sunroof's what he called it. So, but it did run. But the other white truck did not run, and it needs a fuel pump or something. I don't know what he said it was, but in any case, it's not operable. We got a screen again. On August 15, 2016, the notice of violation was returned to the office because it had the wrong address on it, so I hand delivered it to them to make sure he got it. On the 16th of August, Mr. Sherwood contacted me and requested and was given additional time to bring property into compliance. On August 29th, follow-up inspection was conducted, noted there were still several unregistered vehicles on the property. Citation 476 was issued by posting it on the property and certified mail to the owner. See that this vehicle, the white truck here, it's unregistered, and there's several motorcycles that are also, these motorcycles here are unregistered, one in the back, unregistered. In fact, I did a search through the clerk's office and found no registered vehicles to that address at all. So he may have something registered in another address, but I couldn't find it. And he was supposed to bring it today if he came, because I told him, so if you got any registrations, by all means, bring them. I'll be happy to dismiss that part, but he has not problems. So as you can see, the citation was posted on the door of the property. And they do live there, and they get mail at a different address for some reason. I don't know why. On September 8th, 2016, received a letter from them requesting the hearing. You'll notice in your packet there was a copy of the letter attached to the little booklet that said that they did want a hearing. On October 3rd, pre-hearing inspection was done. You still see the motorcycles in the back of the truck. They're obviously inoperable. There's parts of motorcycles in there too. You can't see from the photo, but they're in there. And that white truck in the other driveway, it's inoperable. You can see the hood's up on it, and he told me that the fuel pump's out on it or something to that effect. I'm not sure what it was, but anyway, he's supposed to be working on getting it corrected, but I've had multiple issues with him. He'll get stuff correct, and then he lets it go back and gets it correct and lets it go back, and that's why I went forward with the notice of violation this time and then went to citation just to get it resolved, because otherwise he's going to keep going back and forth. Nuisance ordinance KLC 89-800-846, sections 1 and 3. No person owning, leasing, occupying, or having charge of any property shall maintain or keep any nuisance thereon, nor shall any such person keep or maintain such premises in a manner causing substantial diminution in the value of others' property. Exterior storage of non-operating vehicles is prohibited. Zoning ordinance 280-100, off-street parking. No person shall keep any auto, truck, trailer, boat, or unlicensed for the current year in the residentially zoned area unless the truck, trailer is in a garage and the owner obtains an annual permit from the administrator for $25. The other part of that particular ordinance that I don't generally, as long as everything's running, I don't generally enforce, but it says that no more than 3 vehicles are to be parked outside in a residential area. And he had several motorcycles, plus he had the truck, car, and another truck, and then another car there, so. There he is right here. So he did make it. Well over 3 vehicles that are unregistered for the current year. Evidence presented shows clear and continued violation of ordinance KLC 89-800, sections 1 and 3, and zoning ordinance 280-100, off-street parking. Recommend to issue a fine as property is not in compliant. Site visits were July the 25th, 2016, August 16th, 2016, August 29th, 2016, and October 3rd, 2016, subject to your questions.
Okay. Are we going to give,
I'm sorry?
we're going to give Mr. Sherwood the chance to speak?
Mr. Sherwood is here. He's
wanna
welcome to
speak?
come up.
I need you to raise your right hand, please.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give this board is true and accurate to the best of your belief and knowledge?
Yes.
State your name and address, please.
Joel Sherwood, 4901 Meadowland Court.
All right, sir, you've heard part of the presentation that was made. Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Oh, well, yeah, sorry, I'm a little nervous here. Apologize. I've got registration for one of the vehicles here that I can show Mr. Green. There, right there. That's the registration for the Saturn over there.
Okay.
That one of the other vehicles that he has said that wasn't licensed has been towed off and removed Monday, I believe it was. So that one's gone. And the other truck that he was talking about is currently licensed and insured, but it's backed in, so you can't see it from the road. But I took a picture of the license plate. I can show you, if the court wishes, they can see a picture of the license plate. It's a current license plate.
Okay, which truck was towed off?
The Ranger on the other,
The one that's in our.
the white one. Yeah,
Okay.
right. Yeah, so, I mean, do you want to see the license plate of the other one that I started for you the other day that you
Yeah,
thought
I'll show
wasn't
the
running?
board.
Okay, let me see here just a second. Right there.
The one with the hillbilly sunroof that you're talking about.
Yeah.
This is which one?
That's the white truck with the board on the top of it.
Oh, the Ranger pickup.
No, it's a F-150.
Oh, the F-150, the larger
Yes, sir.
one. Okay.
Yeah, the larger one, yeah. It was backed into the driveway, and I mean, Mr. Green can tell you, while he was there, I happened to hear his truck drive up, and I ran outside and reached in, he had the keys in my pocket, turned it, started it up, and it moved.
I've already
So, okay. Sorry, I drove in from Lexington, so I was a little late. I got behind a couple of school buses, so imagine that. But anyway, my feeling is on it that the motorcycles that are in the back of the vehicle, the truck, are more like cargo. I don't see where those are subject to this rule because I've got them. If the tarp didn't have a rip in it and you couldn't see a handlebar, you would never know if it was bales of hay on there or motorcycles, so I don't see why I couldn't just cover that back up till I can get them inside somewhere, and we'd all be good. I do have one on a trailer that I'm gonna get off this weekend. I've gotta make some room. We've got my mother-in-law's in the nursing home, and we've got a lot of her stuff that we've got in the garage that it's tough when you have to move a household, and that's all we can do.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Have a seat, please. Jerry?
The only rebuttal I'd have on that would be that motorcycles are by law required to be licensed, and therefore they're considered a motor vehicle. And you can't consider a motor vehicle cargo even if it's sitting on the back of a tow truck. It's still a motor vehicle. If it's not operational, it falls within the ordinance. That's the reason for the citing. That's not to say that I don't believe he'll get rid of it, because he said he would, but that's why it's been cited that way.
If they were in the garage, it wouldn't be,
If they're in the garage, they're perfectly legal. The problem is, they're not in the garage, they're out, and I've received multiple complaints regarding them, so.
You have an opportunity for a rebuttal. Come on up, back up.
Do I need to swear in again? Or?
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. All right, sorry. I think Mr. Green would probably attest that there were more vehicles out there, and I have actually moved them and got them inside. So it's not like in black and white behind you on the screen, it looks like I have not done anything at all since July 25th, but I actually have, and I think you can attest to that there ones under the tarp there behind the truck, those are all gone, and the other one behind that had a motorcycle cover on it. So,
And I told the board earlier that you've come into compliance. I've told the board earlier that you've come into compliance, then you come out of compliance, and you come back into compliance, you come out of compliance. But the problem is, as far as motorcycles go, you've remained out of compliance, even though you've gotten rid of some, you haven't gotten rid of all of them.
yeah, I just wanted to tell you that I have been making an effort to do it and to come into compliance here. And I appreciate, Mr. Green working with me on it. And just in my defense as well, the August 16th, the notification was mailed to my address, but to the wrong city. And so I didn't get that, and that's why they got the extension till the 29th, I think it was. So there was a gap of time in between there, and to his credit, he did hand deliver it to the house.
So now that you know that the motorcycles are not in compliance, how long will it take you to get them into compliance or get rid of them?
we'll get them in the garage.
Right,
them
to
in
make
the
the
garage.
problem go away, probably a couple of weeks. Because I mean, I work out of town all week, every week. I'm not even in Kentucky. Well, I'm not even in Oldham County or Louisville. So, I'm kind of a weekend warrior, so to speak. So I can come in and I have to take care of my elderly parents who's got Alzheimer's on the weekend, and I do what I can. I've got 2 children as well. So, I could probably make it happen in a couple of weeks, weather depending. Something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Sherwood, have a seat, please. Thank you. Okay, at this time, is there any other board questions?
No?
Okay, all right, well, should we move forward? Do we have a motion?
Start with procedural matters. I move that citation was properly issued on 8/29/2016, posted on the property, mailed to the respondent. At the same time, the notice of hearing was given to the respondent. And the respondent requested a hearing to contest the citation and is present. And that will conclude my motion on procedural matters.
Okay, we have a procedural matter on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
And moving on to the nuisance ordinance violation, I move that to confirm that a nuisance ordinance violation was committed, KOC 89-800-846-1 and KOC 89-800-846-3. person is allowed the partially dismantled, wrecked, junk, discarded, or non-operational vehicles or machines to remain on the premises for more than 15 days. And the violation was observed by the officer on July 25th, and has substantial evidence in the record that the violation was permitted to exist for 73 days.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for a nuisance ordinance violation. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. The motion being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And then, I believe there's a zoning ordinance, in this one as well. Moved to find that there was a zoning ordinance, violation committed. Automobile or truck trailer are not licensed, for the current year being kept in a residentially zoned area in violation of zoning ordinance 280-100. That concludes my motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for a zoning ordinance for 280-100. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, with the second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And moving on to the penalty phase, I moved to issue a remedial order that the property be brought into compliance within 30 days from today's date. That concludes my remedial order.
Okay, we have a remedial order on the floor for, the terms of the order is that the property be brought into compliance 30 days from today's date. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And I also move that we issue a civil fine in the amount of $10 a day at 73 days, which totals $730, but that fine be held in abeyance for 30 days to give Mr. Sherwood time to comply with the remedial order.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to have the board sets the fine at $10 for a total of $730 with the full amount to be held in abeyance for 30 days from today's date. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Okay. All right. Okay, this concludes the action on citation 476.
Next citation is 477. The property address is 3801 Joyce Drive. That property has been brought into compliance, and therefore recommend dismissal without prejudice.
I move that the case number 477 be dismissed.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion's in. Wait a second, sorry. My apologies, I needed a second before I dismissed it.
Second.
Thank you. Got a little anxious there.
Next case is citation 478, property address 3421 East Highway 42, today's date October 5th, 2016. The case number is 16-0046, citation number 478. Again, the address is 3421 East Highway 42, Pendleton, Kentucky, 40055. The owners of the property is GT and Evelyn Barrickman. Again, the property address, 3421 East Highway 42, Pendleton, Kentucky, 40055. A hearing was requested, and Mr. Barrickman is present. He is not listed as the owner, but he's the son and in charge, or he's the POA for your mom, right? So he is here to speak on their behalf. Violations are nuisance ordinance KLC 89-800-846, section 1. Zoning ordinance 250-140, sections A4 and B1, outdoor sales, storage, and display. Zoning ordinance 260-380, salvage yards or similar establishments, including vehicle wrecking, metal, paper, glass, or waste. On April 21st, 2016, Code Enforcement received a complaint regarding listed property storing multiple vehicles or multiple junk cars, trucks in the view of the right-of-way. Inspection verified the complaint, photos were taken, and a courtesy letter was sent out. It is also noted that the property has had similar complaints in 1998, 1999, and 2000. They were never done anything with it other than all I could find was a letter that was sent to them. So. On April 25th, 2016, Code Enforcement received a call from Tanya. She advised that they were not running the junkyard. It was a towing lot, and for the county and state police, and that they couldn't get rid of the cars. She was informed that as to what the ordinance required, she said she would work on a solution and call back. On May 6th, having no new communication with the property owner, follow-up inspection was done. Noted no changes, the photos were taken, and a notice of violation was sent to the owner. You see there's multiple vehicles. It's not a new place, it's been there for quite a while. But on May 19th, 2016, Mr. Ronnie Barrickman called and advised that he would submit a plan to resolve the issues by 5/23/2016. On 5/24/2016, Mr. Barrickman again spoke with Mr. Barrickman again, and he advised that the plan to resolve the issue would be submitted by 5/27/2016. On the 25th of May, Mr. Barrickman submitted a plan, but was not complete. A meeting was set to work out some details. On June 2nd, 2016, me and Mr. Barrickman met at the property, and we signed a letter of agreement to resolve the issues. A copy of that agreement should be part of your booklet. On June 15th, 2016, the inspection noted that the junk cars in front of the building had been moved as agreed to. On September 1, 2016, an inspection noted that there were to have been inspection noted issues that were to have been abated had not been abated. Photos were taken, and citation 478 was issued to Mr. Bobby Brewer. I'd say somebody who drives a truck for Mr. Barrickman, one of the tow trucks for him, and it was also sent certified mail to the property owner. Again, you can see there's still several vehicles here. Part of the agreement was to have some kind of screening up. He's got some issues with right-of-way, and he hadn't been able to do that. So, on September 13, 2016, received a letter requesting a hearing for the property owner, power of attorney, Mr. Ronnie Barrickman, who's present to speak. On October 3rd, a pre-hearing inspection was conducted. Still no screening in place. Photos were taken. As you can see, there's several junk vehicles, wrecked vehicles. There's a bunch of tires piled up, stuff like that. Again, more photos. The nuisance ordinance KLC 89-800-846, section 1, no person owning, leasing, occupying, or having charge of such property shall maintain or keep nuisance thereon, nor shall any person keep or maintain such premise in a manner causing substantial diminution in the value of others' property. Zoning ordinance 250-140, outdoor sales, storage, and or display, section A4 and B1. A4 says all outdoor storage or outdoor sales, storage, display of merchandise, material, and equipment shall be completely screened from view of residential areas. It goes on a bunch of other stuff, like the be screened from view of residential areas is the issue. And B says basically the same thing. Outdoor storage areas shall be screened from the view by solid fence or walls, building, or combination thereof. On section 260, 380, salvage yards of similar establishments, including vehicle wrecking, metal, paper, glass, waste. Section number 3, the entire operation shall be enclosed by a solid fence at least 8 foot high, with trees or a combination of fencing or trees, basically. The evidence shows clear and continued violation of nuisance ordinance KLC 89-800-846, section 1, zoning ordinance 250-140, section A4 and B1, and zoning ordinance 260-380, salvage yards or similar establishments. Recommendations: issue fine as the property has not been brought into compliance. Site visits and inspections were April 21st, 2016, May 6th, 2016, June 2nd, 2016, June 15th, 2016, July 15th, 2016, September 1st, 2016, and October 3rd, 2016. Subject to your questions.
Looking at the plan that was submitted by Mr. Berrickman, he claims he's not a salvage or junkyard, but he tows these wrecked vehicles in for the county and state police until at some point they are either taken away by the insurance company or whatever. Now, he's also claiming that he's been in business there in the same location for 70 years, which is much prior to these zoning regulations. Where does the grandfather come into this, if anything?
That's something that I can't answer. I don't do the grandfather stuff. I know that there was some notice sent out in 99, 98, 99, and 2000. And I don't know how long the junkyard's been in operation. I do know it's been there for quite a while. I don't know how long. As far as the claim of it not being a salvage yard or whatever, you'll see that I also included in that packet a copy of the definitions by ordinance, and you'll see one of those definitions for salvage yard says that any place that keeps more than 5 vehicles or 5 non-operational vehicles or parts is considered to be a salvage yard. It's not exactly verbatim, but it's simpler to that. So, as far as I know, the property falls into what the zoning regs say. If y'all say different, I'm okay with it.
Well, I don't
For
know, I'm
y'all to make
unclear.
that
Amy, would you
decision.
have any?
Can we,
Okay, Matt?
It sounds like the Berrickmans have operated something there for a long period of time prior to the enactment of the zoning scheme. The question becomes, has the nature of the business changed at any point along the way? And at what point did the zoning change? And it would require a lot of fact-finding that I don't think that we're equipped to do here, to go back and look at the entire history of the property. But the general answer is, if the property was being used in the same way as it is now, 70 years ago, before the zoning laws were put in place, then it's automatically grandfathered in. So there may be an issue with the board enforcing a zoning regulation in this particular case, but I can't say yes or no because we don't have all the facts about how long the business has been in operation. And some of those facts may come in when Mr. Berrickman testifies, but I'm not sure that he's competent to testify, or at least not to represent the property owner because he's not a licensed attorney. So having the power of attorney may permit him to do certain things, but I'm not sure that it puts him in a good position to represent his relatives if they are still the owners. So there are some other issues with this particular case. I don't think the board is precluded from hearing from him today, but I would ask that the board not consider any legal arguments that he makes. And if the board wants to accept facts from him, that's probably helpful. But arguing what the facts mean in relation to the accusations and
Yeah, well, that's not our job anyway in this. We're just to determine whether there has been a violation and.
okay. And so I can't answer definitively whether he's been grandfathered because the nature of the business may have changed. And once you change, if you're grandfathered in and then the business changes, you can't go back and rely on what was previously grandfathered.
If he was grandfathered, would that be a province of the zoning committee?
Well, this board has the authority to enforce the zoning regulations. So we may need to do some additional investigation.
Find out.
I'd also like to point out that while Mr. Bergman isn't the actual owner of the property and he is POA for the owner, it is his business that's operated on the property. He is the business owner. Is that not correct? You own the towing service? Okay, I thought it was his business
But
too.
he's passed away, I just kind of took it over for him.
Could,
Just Mr.
Yeah,
Bear,
it's not changed, it's all the same as it's been for buku years.
okay, we need to have you come
Yeah,
up,
you need to
please,
come up
and be
and
sworn in,
swear in.
please. Would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give this board is true and accurate to the best of your belief and knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
State your name and address, please.
Ronald Keith Barrickman, 3421 East Highway 42.
Go ahead, sir.
Like he said, we've been there at least 70 years. Same business. I mean, it's family owned. We haul for the police, Oldham County Sheriff's Department right here. You know, you get tied up with them cars, the insurance companies, I can't move them. If you know some pictures from today, I guess you took some today. I mean, I try to keep them in line, try to keep them organized, but you know, you're bringing them in there all the time. Insurance companies needs to have them drug out to inspect, and you know, it's hard to put them, especially with my property lace, because it goes back and it's straight down over a hill. I filled in to where I could get them back off the road the best as possible, and you know, sometimes I bring them in there and I drop them off, you know, out front. But ordinarily, I try to keep everything back, keep them all straight in line. I worked on it today again, and you know, I only do what I can do. I mean, one man band, you know. But I like for it to look nice as much as anybody else. But especially in the wintertime, you come in there, you know, you tow 3 or 4 or 5 in a day. You know, you'll have to tow 1 out and 3 in. You know, so you know, I do the best I can with what I got, and I checked on getting a fence. Boy looked at it. He said he didn't think he could get zoning to approve it because the power lines, telephone lines, and everything runs right underneath my lot or above my lot. So, I mean, you know, whatever y'all decide is what I'll try to do.
Did you request that to the zoning board?
Sir?
Did you request that?
I talked to him about it, and he was going to talk to someone about the boy that I asked about building the fence, Jeff Egger. You know Jeff?
Yeah. We don't issue building permits for fences. They can inquire to our office about what the height restrictions are, but we do not permit fences. We advise people they can put them up to their property line, however, they cannot be placed in easements. If they,
It's not an issue with the zoning board.
but he can't place a fence in the utility. If he has overhead power lines, that width of that easement, a fence cannot be placed in that easement unless he had special permission from the utility companies.
So is that a power line or a telephone line
Both.
that's preventing you?
Both?
And can they be moved?
No. No.
have you talked to the utility?
Well, if they did, I mean, I guess they'd have to take it across the road, and then it's,
They're not his power lines. They're not
Well-
going to, they're not just going to his.
oh no, they'd run.
Well, as long as they've got access, then they.
If I put a
they-
fence
they
in
may-
there, they wouldn't have.
Oh, yes, they would.
They can take the fence down to get access if they needed to.
Yes.
Right.
And it would be removed at the owner's expense. So if you advise him to put a fence and an easement, and then they come and take the fence down, where are you at that point?
Yeah, well, he'd have to put it back up, but
At
Yeah,
his
it's-
expense.
This would be between him and the utility, yes. It wouldn't be.
But
the-
you can't order him to put a fence in
Yeah,
a
we can't,
utility.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. He would have to talk to utility and get that permission first, that they knew it was there and that they could remove it if they needed to.
Well, I'm unclear as to whether or not the screening applies if there's a grandfather clause here. So, do you have anything further to present? We
Well, I
can move
don't,
on.
I don't sell parts. I'm not a junkyard, is what they're trying to label me. I'm a tow-in lot. I mean, you can see what's up there. There's wrecks and, you know, like I say, I deal with the insurance companies. I hold cars for the state police. I've got some that's been there a year that I've held for the state police that's under investigation. County police, same way. You know, like I say, I mean, I'm just trying to make a living and, you know, and that's, you know, I'm sorry that people complained about it, but we've been there longer than anybody in that area over there, and they knew if they come in there, what was there.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Berrigan. Would you have a seat, please?
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to close discussion and just open it up for the board.
Yeah, I mean, I'm unclear that I would feel comfortable issuing a violation based on the clarification of the zoning regulations and the grandfathering in of their operation. So I move we table it and try to get more information from staff so we can clarify whether the current screening laws are we able to enforce those with the grandfather clause and those sorts of issues. And then it may require some time for Mr. Berkman to communicate with the utility companies to get permission. If he is in fact required to screen that area, then the utility company's gonna have to be involved in it. And if they won't grant it, then, you know, we're kinda in a difficult position. So I think we just need to do some more research and.
I kind of agree with the fact that, yeah, we need to do research, but after 70 years, I'm going to assume he's grandfathered until they made this agreement to fence it. Then that took the grandfather clause, to me, out, that end of the clause. And now it should have been brought in compliance in the last 60 years, but it wasn't. So now he's under restrictions of the board because he's agreed to fix it.
Well, I don't think that changes the zoning requirements.
no,
And it doesn't
no.
change the grandfather. He may not have been aware of that, of the grandfather clause that would apply.
But it was never brought up to his attention either.
Right.
Well, I agree with the motion. It's time to put it to rest, find out once and for all.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is that we'll table this until we get more information. We have a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, we're going to table. Thank
One
you.
question, Mr. Chairman. Who's going to find out the information?
We've asked staff to do that.
What do you want me to find out?
Well,
That's the question. I mean, I don't know when he went into business. Can you provide anything, say when you started your business?
Probably, yeah.
If he can provide something that says when he started his business, I'll be happy to present that to you. And that's really the only information that's in question here is
And an
when
opinion from
Barrickman's
the,
towing service started, right?
yes,
I think we have to
and
go
we
to
would
the
need an
attorney.
opinion from our attorney and possibly some testimony from the planning and zoning department as
If he
to
is
how these
grandfathered.
Yes.
grandfather clauses apply.
When did zoning start in
You know, we've just made a motion.
The zoning ordinance was written in the late 60s. So anything that was open and operational at that point, unless it went out of business, and then it would become an example would be a sign. If a sign, a company went out of business and they left a big tall sign up and it was out of business for more than a year, then that sign becomes non-conforming at that point because it went out of service. Because it was in existence prior to the zoning regulations. So if Mr. Berkman's business went out of business for 13 months, let's say 13 months, then it becomes a non-conforming use at that point, and you can't re-implement that non-conforming use.
Okay.
So it would be a decision or an interpretation, I think, between your legal staff and our administrator of whether or not the zoning regulation can be enforced on something that's been in business for 70 years.
Yes.
Okay.
So we would
it's
need to
difficult
take that under
enforce something.
advisement for the next,
Yeah.
yes.
Do we need to make that in the form of a motion, or is that
I think we have.
Yeah, it's,
Well, the continued's fine. I mean, that's all I need is, if we're gonna continue it until November, as I'm assuming what we're doing.
Yeah, so that gives
And
you enough
which-
time to
that
research
way
it
It gives
and,
you time to show when you established your business. That way we can show if a business was established prior to the time the zoning started. If it was established prior to the time the zoning started, they're grandfathered, simple as that. If it wasn't, then that's where we have the issue.
right,
Okay.
okay. So you're clear on what you need to get and,
Yeah, I need to get you. I got it.
okay.
The researching, okay. All right. Okay,
So-
this closes citation 0478, tabled.
That was 478.
Right,
Yeah, that was 478.
right. Any other business?
That was 478, wasn't it? Pendleton, Highway 42,
Right.
Pendleton?
You said it's been tabled.
To closed meetings to talk with
Yes.
attorney?
Yes.
That's it?
Any other business before us? Okay, being no other business, we will now call the meeting adjourned. Oh, we did not. We